Sorry, you're really
Denise is thinking no one brings it up, it passes
eager.
by motion.
So this is a good field.
4, 3,
She
2,
wants to say here. Okay, great. Well, I'd like to welcome everybody to the June 27th regular meeting of the Planning Commission. And this is a regular meeting, but it's also in many ways special because it is the last meeting that our Planning and Zoning Administrator, Denise Swinger, is at. Although she's not at this table, she's in the audience in her fancy hat. And I just want to make a little statement saying that it has been an honor to work with Denise. She is always prepared, always helpful, always pleasant. She is just one of the most positive people that you could have on a staff. She's done a superior job of guiding the Planning Commission. She's certainly worked hard to help the community. And I've heard many anecdotal stories from people about that she always looks how she can accomplish what the people want. Not that you come to her and you have a problem and she's not going to say, no, we can't do that. She's going to look at it and figure out what she can do to make it work. So I just want to say it's been such a privilege, I think, for all of us on planning to work with you. We're going to miss you, but we also welcome Meg Leatherman. This is her first meeting, and so now she's going to sort of take over for Denise. So we'll start with our roll call.
All right, Stiles.
Here.
Greene.
Here.
Zaremski.
Here.
DeVore Leonard.
Here.
Osterholm.
Here.
Also present is Planning and Zoning Administrator Meg Leatherman. And our solicitor, Amy Blankenship, is present. And the happily exiting Denise Swinger for the last time.
Okay, so next thing is to review our agenda. And so just to be aware that one piece on our agenda, once we pass this, is that correct? Then that's final. And that's how it is planned. So we'll look at first reviewing the minutes. And I'm not going to go page by page. I'm simply going to ask anybody, do you have any corrections to the minutes? And if no one has any corrections, I move approval of the minutes.
I'll second.
Thank you. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, so our minutes are approved. And now, did I do that correctly? Is our agenda approved then also? Or do I need to have the agenda approved?
You do not need approval of the agenda.
Okay, so that means our consent agenda item is approved.
No, the consent agenda item, you will want to reference that and ask whether anyone has concerns regarding that item on the agenda, and then if not, you can take a motion
Just a
to
motion,
approve it.
okay.
And then you...
Okay, great. Okay, are there any communications?
There is a letter written in opposition to the transient guest lodging request.
Okay. And that is in our packet, so we've all seen that. And are there any reports from the council, Gavin?
I'm trying to think if there's anything that's relevant.
And I'm certain he's just about to say that council done a first reading on the PUD, the recommendation from this body for 144 Cliff, and we'll have a second hearing on that on July 3rd, and then the first reading for the PUD for 108 Cliff.
I think that's it.
Good job, Gavin.
Okay, great.
You have a great memory.
I'm proud of that.
When he throws his voice, it sounded like it was coming across the room.
This is the point where we have citizens' comments for things that are not on our agenda. Is there anybody, and if you have any comments, either at this point or when we have a public hearing, we ask that you come forward, state your name, and then continue. Are there any public comments? Okay, then we will move on to our consent agenda. Does anyone have any questions about it?
I have one. And this is Diane Chiddister's
That's correct.
plan. I'm just wondering if, since a small portion of this property is in the township, apparently, and not in the village, if I read that correctly.
That's just the right of way.
Pardon?
Just the right of way is considered Greene County's jurisdiction.
Okay.
So no part of the actual private property is in the township.
Okay, good. I was just wondering if there would need to be some parallel activity with the township, but apparently not.
But there doesn't need to be.
Okay.
Any other questions? Okay, if not, then could we get a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second?
I'll second it.
Okay. It's been moved and seconded.
All right, Greene.
Yes.
Zaremski.
Yes.
Vorlener.
Yes.
Osterholm.
Yes.
Stiles.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, it's approved. Okay, our next item is one that we'll have a public hearing for, and this is the Conditional Use Application, RA, Low Density Residential District. Nancy Lineburgh has submitted an application to operate a transient guest lodging, and I will turn it over to Meg to
All right, thank you.
talk to us.
Hi, everyone. I'm going to just give a high-level overview of the application and my recommendation, and I was telling President Stiles, if you have any thoughts on additional information in the future that you would like, please just let me know, reach out, let me know if I'm missing anything from the summary that you would like. All right, this is a conditional use application to allow transient guest lodging at 202 Allen Street, submitted by Nancy Lineburgh, who is the owner and resides in the home. The property is in the RA zone, which is low-density residential, and allows a transient lodging unit upon approval by the Planning Commission if it meets all the applicable criteria in the code. A staff report was prepared and emailed to the commission that outlines all the applicable criteria in detail, so you all have that now in front of you. A public hearing notification was provided in the Yellow Springs newspaper. Mailed notices were sent to abutting properties, and property signs were posted for this public hearing. The applicant would like to use a portion of her home for transient guest lodging as a way to earn extra income without having to enter into a long-term lease, so that she has more flexibility for the use of the space in the future. The owner is here tonight if you need more information or have questions for her about that. The village provides, the village code outlines 15 requirements for transient lodging. Some of those are required to be completed before the application is submitted. Some occur prior to the occupancy of the TGL, and some are continually and ongoing requirements that we need to stay aware of. The items that are required to be completed upon application submittal have been addressed, and that's outlined again in the staff report provided to you. To avoid a high concentration of TGL or transient guest lodging units in one location, the code requires that two transient lodgings not be within 500 feet of each other. There is one other transient lodging that is 550 feet away from the proposed transient lodging unit at 1340 Meadow Lane, but it is 550 feet away.
Yeah.
The code requires one off-street parking spot, but the applicant is proposing to provide 3 in the front driveway. And the proposal is for it to be owner-occupied, and it's just an extension of the home, another unit extension to where she'll be living. Should the Planning Commission vote to approve the application, the owner will need to have a Miami Township Fire and Rescue fire life safety inspection, and that is placed as a condition of approval on this, should it get approved. And she will also need to officially register with the village for her transient lodging license and submit transient lodging taxes twice a year. We did receive one letter of opposition. It's in the packet from Karen Deibel at 210 Allen Street. She provided an email, which was included again in your staff packet. And I do not see her here tonight, but she did have the opportunity to be here tonight to express more of her dissatisfaction with it. But based on the code and the information provided to us, staff recommends approval of the transient guest lodging as conditions, and I'll stand for any questions.
Good, thank you. Anyone have any questions for Meg? If not, then before we start a public hearing, I'll ask Nancy, is there anything that you'd like to say, a statement?
No.
Okay. Okay. Then we'll go ahead and open the public hearing then. Is there anybody that would like to speak on this? Okay, then we're going to close the public hearing. I just wanted to say, I read the letter from the neighbor Karen, and I understand Karen's concern. I have similar concerns about rental units, but I also think that I understand why somebody would do a transient guest lodging, and it is for, I think, the reasons that Nancy has stated. Usually it's for income and for convenience for them. And since this one meets all the requirements, I do not have an issue with it. Anyone else have any comments you want to make?
Had this been a rental unit before?
Yes,
It had been a long-term
Yes.
rental, and now you're making it a transient guest lodging.
yes, and there actually is a renter who's there, but...
Would you mind, I'm sorry, would you mind going up to the microphone? I'm sorry.
I currently have a long-term renter, but I don't plan to ask him to leave, but when he leaves, then I would like to have the flexibility of not having to have a long-term renter.
Sure, okay.
Any other questions for Nancy while she's there? Okay. If there's nothing else, do we have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve.
I second it. It's been moved and approved.
All right, and you're moving approval with staff recommendation that they conduct the fire life safety inspection?
Yes.
That's correct.
To that approval? All right. Greene?
Yes.
DeWar Leonard?
Yes?
Osterholm?
Yes.
Zaremski?
Yes.
Stiles?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, congratulations, it's approved. Do we have any old business to consider? Doesn't look like it. And is there new business? We're wondering about our July meeting, which will be in 2 weeks.
I know, it's quicker, huh?
Do we have business?
We do have business, yes. We have a PUD and a conditional use for a tattoo parlor. So it's-
We have also spoken about conducting an ethics training for this body because, and we had thought about, the solicitor and I had thought about July because that catches Meg as she's coming in the door, gets you folks some new updated training, whatever's needed there, and it's a lighter agenda, so we felt like we could smack that one in there real quick.
That sounds great.
So,
Is that okay with everyone? Okay. Okay, do we need any other agenda planning?
the idea is for no meeting in August at this point.
Okay.
So,
That's right, thank you.
at this point, no August meeting,
Okay.
and you will know by, what is the 21 days prior to the, we'd know by July
Let's see. It's supposed to be August.
15th or something because of the notification requirements.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
Yeah, or the 17th, maybe that Monday, or, yeah.
so at this point, it's looking,
We'll let you know for sure, but tentatively, it might not be happening.
Okay.
So if we end up where there's not content, is that where it's like worth looking back at our goals the beginning of the year and like any of the, to see if there's any of the like sort of planning topics that are worth discussing? I don't know if that's like, you remember we set the stuff around zoning and then we had a list of other things that were potential topics.
That's true.
So I don't know, I'm just bringing it up. Is it worth revisiting that in July and just checking in? Or you said we have to know before the 2 weeks from now meeting?
To notice.
Well, that's
Yeah,
for
to be able to
August.
notify.
I understand, but I mean, you have
But
to
it-
notify before
I-
the
I
upcoming
un-
planning meeting?
But
like
I
in 2 weeks?
understand in July, we were planning on having the ethics training.
well, I think Gavin's saying, let's check in July to see whether there's enough interest in material for an August meeting. Is that?
Yeah, and that basically like maybe for the July meeting, maybe we could just have like the little list we had of stuff that we were considering talking about, and then we'd all be prepared to say, oh, do we want to talk about that in August or
Okay.
not? I don't know, it's just an idea.
Does that meet everybody's pleasure? We
Works for me.
originally were going to have August off, but are you, excuse me, willing to come?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll be available.
And can someone send me the list of things so I know what we'll be talking about potentially? Or does someone have that?
It should be in minutes, and I can...
Minutes, okay.
I can find it.
February minutes, maybe?
Okay, so August, we're looking at,
Super quick question. Usually we're off in August because council's off the first week in August, and that's the only time Judy gets a chance to go on vacation. So I don't want that to affect Judy's ability to do that now, because we're
I-
planning an August meeting.
Well,
Definitely support that. Thank you. I didn't know about that
and I
piece.
appreciate that.
I didn't either.
August is one of those odd months where the second Tuesday comes the day after the council meeting, which bumps it later, so it's actually about August 15th, and I would have been back for a bit, so it wouldn't be a problem for me, so.
okay. Okay, so we have our July meeting set, and then we're looking potentially at August of reviewing the goals that we discussed earlier in the year.
Okay. It sounds like those are maybe from the February meeting, so I'll take a look at those so I'm refreshed on it.
Okay. Okay, if there's not anything else, then I move we adjourn.
Second?
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, okay, we are adjourned. That was a fast meeting.
So, if you could
See, Denise is going out.